All right, everybody, welcome back to the Can-Am Connection. Jody, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. I am back in the state of Oregon, but obviously, as you guys can see, I am not in my office. I am off location here in Portland, Oregon. So my son has his follow-up appointment from his eye surgery he had last week. So that's where I'm at right now. So it all worked out well. So I'm here with my wife and son.
And who doesn't want to hang out in Portland?
Well, it's not what it used to be. Keep it. They say keep it weird, right? So we're keeping it weird.
Beautiful. Where do you want to start today, my friend? Let's go with
Uh,
the review, but let's go with the review. Did you happen to bring your list?
I did not. I did not. Um, But I tell you what, you had to be there. Did you watch the event?
I did.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was a solid event. I thought, it had its usual challenges with any event, but I mean, as far as the match card goes, there was some surprises for sure.
Um, well, to be there in person, the match of the night had to be the Dustin Hyatt and Roman Granoff, because I'm telling you right now that match right there, just to be there in person, the electricity that it produced, it got everybody's attention. It did.
Well, I know I got that prediction wrong,
Yeah, I think everybody did. So
amongst many others.
well, I mean, let's go ahead and get my matches out the way, because a lot of people were messaging me saying, you know, dude, I thought you would have won against Russ and lost against Daniel Worley. So it was the absolute opposite.
Okay, well, I will tell you what I observed.
Yes, please do, because I'm all about constructive criticism.
You seemed like you had a really dominant hand over Russ Schrader. It looked like you could take his hand and wrist anytime you wanted until it went to the strap when he had that extra reinforcement with his wrist.
That's exactly right. I felt comfortable out of the strap, and you know, gripping up, I felt, he has a thick, wide hand, but my fingers are a little longer, so I had a little bit more coverage. And I felt, as I came in my top roll, and the one thing I need to realize I need to stop doing is once I control that, I need to keep that. For some reason, I always, hit so hard. Either A, I just let go as I come down, or they ended up kind of giving up and it just makes me follow through. And the one thing I need to start working on is just making sure I control the whole thing from start to finish. That way it doesn't allow that, because in the strap, I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt like my hand was pretty much open. Um, as you noticed, I had a hard time capping my thumb. So, I mean, it seemed like they put the strap on, and when they cinched it down, his hand blew up. My hand just went like that, and I can't do a whole lot. My hands like that. So, but taking nothing away from Russ, he just outpowered me. I got, honestly, the more I think about that, he just, no excuses, outpowered me. Russ came in at 255, and I came in at 232. So,
Right on. I thought you did well. I think you pulled well. It was just a matter of that strap, figuring out that riddle with him in the strap.
yeah, that's something I got to worry about too. And well, at least with him, because in my other match, that wasn't as the problem. It was more the setup that was driving me crazy. And
Yeah, I noticed there was a match there that you actually kind of looked like you laid down just to because the setup was so much in his favor.
um, my hand was like this. So
Yeah.
you want to be straight as you can, but for some reason, the way he set up and the way I did, my hand was like that. If I'm like that, I'm not gonna, fight out of that. And when they cinched it up, and then my hand went like that, there's no way I'm gonna fight with my hand like this, right? And I tell you what, it was a strategic move, because had I been up 1-0 and I'm like this, I would have fought my ass off. But since I was already up 1-0, I'm gonna let it go. And
Yeah.
with all the, you know, razzmatazz, all that kind of stuff, my hands start to blow up. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I'll give it up. And if you can hear Michael in the background at the desk was like, this is the Monster Factory. You got to fight. What are you doing? I told him, I was like, I'm not going to fight with my hands like this.
I heard him say that, and I know what he's trying to say. But if you in a super match, sometimes it can be a lot smarter to not fight in that match where you're so at a disadvantage.
Yes. No, it was just for me strategically. I'd rather just take a loss. Next match, reset it up, and then knowing what I knew, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna let that happen this time. And it was more of a match 3. It was more of a side pressure hit hard as I can. I don't know what happened with him, but I just kind of gripped up, and when they said go, I just took off sideways and kind of lost my wrist toward the end. But then I just sat there and just muscled everything through and got the pin on that one. So that kind of made me more excited. But again, nothing against Daniel Worley, but I was told by various people, be careful when you pull him because that I don't know if it's a Florida thing or whatever, but they like to sit there and manipulate the setup. And, some people tell me that, they can get away with that in Florida because refs don't call that. Whereas you come out of your element, out of the state of Florida, and you get to a master WAF certified referee, they ain't going to go for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it looked like he ran into some foul trouble throughout that match as well.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because look at Austin Wade versus Bob Brown. I mean, how many fouls did he have,
Yeah, well, let's maybe we should back it up to the Friday night and talk about the big guys.
Oh, yeah. All the super duper heavyweights.
Yeah. The 700 pounds a guy on the table.
They had to reinforce that table because those guys, but it was one-sided though, yeah. I mean, what do you say? I mean,
I picked it wrong.
Well, like I said, I mean, this is why you had the match. We all could pick one thing, and then all of a sudden, the day of, it all changes. You know what I mean? So,
hey, Rush Raiders in the chat.
Russ, good morning, my friend. How we doing? I can't even see the chat on my phone. Can I see the chat?
I don't think you can. So we got JGB, Scott, Marco, Dan, Street Level Arm Wrestling, Brian Gabriel, JH Pipe Fit and Getting Her Done, the longest name. I heard someone say that on another show. Billy Berg, Dan Woodley, Rush Raider, Warren Kernot, MJ Clean again. MJ says probably more like 800 plus, possibly.
Yeah, those some big dudes, man. It was just like
Matt Sartori and what's that other fella's name?
God, I forgot already. They're from that site, not Psycho, but they're from that. He's on that Garabini team, I think. I forgot the name. I got a brain fart. Sorry, gentlemen. Got a brain fart. But either way, it was a one-sided match. I thought Matt would have had more.
Ben.
But just him gripping up and using it. Here's the thing. When you use that weight advantage and that size, if you use it the correct way, you don't have to do a whole lot to get the W. You don't.
Ben LeClaire is the guy's name.
That's what it was.
Thank you for that, Dan. Yeah, he looked good. He looked strong. Young kid, relatively new.
Yes. I tell you one thing. I got the Stephen Logsdon John Terrian match wrong.
Yeah, me too, man. Like I was surprised. I got that one wrong as well. I was surprised by that. Stephen is his setup was bizarre.
What'd you think about that setup?
Whatever works for you. I mean, it's different.
I talked to him and he said the reason why he does that is because what he likes to do is just lean his body. Like if you're pulling right-handed, his feet are to the right of the table, and all he has to do is just keep that hand control and just lean this way. It works for him. The only problem is that if you get somebody who stops that from you from leaning, you're already committed and they haven't actually moved yet. So he's able to get away with that.
Yeah, I can see how you could get caught, but if it's working, keep doing it.
Right.
When it stops working, then move on.
Yes.
Jay says that setup looked like a non-arm wrestler setup.
Well, you know what? Sometimes as arm wrestlers, we always embrace the unconventional. So there's going to be a time where somebody has a strategic setup, And if it works for you, it works for you. Sometimes I'll sit there and just do this, and people tell me, dude, don't set up like that. I'm like, it works for me sometimes, But let me ask you a question. And I was talking with my wife about this, Um, when you prepare for a super match, right? And you know that you can bring some certain tools to the table, but your training, the guys you train with, tell you something different, or the person in your corner tells you something different. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm gonna go with that, and you kind of negate, you know, what you want to do and what you train for. How do you feel like that? And then all of a sudden, and the only reason why I'm saying that because in the after pull, there's a few guys I pulled. Artem was one. Got into a hook, had no issues. This one big dude from the Northeast area, slow pulling the hook. We actually got in the hook. I was fine. I didn't really dive into a hook. I think I tried to last minute with Russ, and then I ended up slipping, but I slipped below the pin pad, which gave me the loss. I think that was match 2. But not one time did I initiate a hook. And looking back now, I was like, man, I should have done that. And I was telling my wife at the airport about this. What do you feel about that? Going in with one game plan, then all of a sudden, last minute, changing everything.
Man, it's tough because everyone yells at everyone and tries to give them advice during the match. And I asked somebody once, like, what would you do? And it was the smartest answer I ever received was, I don't know. I'm not you.
Right.
So I've had people tell me to do things that I just can't do, or in positions I'm just not good in, and it's backfired.
Right.
If it's outside of like basic movements that you've trained, if it's something way out of left field, I don't recommend you just decide to do that at the last minute.
Right. Well, the reason why I'm saying that is that not that it would have changed anything as far as the outcome, but it would have been interesting that anytime you have these super matches, right? The one thing for me I don't like to do is play the what if game, right? When I leave the table, there's question marks. And like I said, I'm not saying my match with the Russ would have changed the outcome, but I like to say, what if I would have initiated the hook, or we actually got into a hook? I might have had an outside chance to at least slow him down, because all the other matches I didn't slow him down in the strap down one damn time. But maybe I could have slowed it down. I don't know. But just knowing that, walking away going, man, what if I would have done that? Or you get into these, after pulls, and it's like going, man, I'm holding my own now. How come I couldn't do that in the match? And even a couple guys told me, how come you couldn't do that against Russ? I'm like, because that wasn't the game plan. So, but anyway, that's enough about that. But I just wanted to get your opinions about that.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah.
Even Russ Schrader says it's best to stick with the original game plan. If you want to change on the next match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right on that. So I just one of those things where it's like, well, sucks for me. So
yeah. Well, let's fire off a little bit of thoughts on the rest of these matches so we can move into next weekend. What else we got? Let's go to
the one that
tell me.
The one that surprised me was Craig Tullier and Eduardo Tiete.
Yeah, no, that was more than surprising for me. That looked like complete domination.
Not that he dominated. It's more like, well, first of all, Craig has something to prove. Let's get that straight. He
Yeah.
has to prove, and he proved it. And it just seemed like Eduardo wasn't quite there. You know what I mean?
It looked like he didn't even like he wasn't even in the fight.
Yeah, he got outmatched. I don't know if it was a setup. And I'm gonna tell you something. I understand people say you got to fight in the setup. You got to fight in the setup. And Eduardo has a tendency to kind of set up and then kind of do this, right? Straighten the wrist. He wants to kind of do that. And I think when you have referees that set people even Steven, you realize what kind of puller they are. That's just my opinion. Craig,
Yeah.
that he was fired up. It seemed like Aguado was like a deer in the headlights all 3 rounds. So,
well, James Clark says that Eduardo tore his shoulder a month ago in practice. Oh, man.
and he still took the match? Oh, man.
Yeah, keep it to yourself, because you got no excuse if you put your arm on the table.
I would have never took the match if that was the case. That's just me though.
Who else we got?
Um,
Well, he didn't. James Clark says he didn't want to disappoint by canceling. Well, showing up and getting your ass handed to you is almost as bad, just because you and then talking about it after. As far as I'm concerned, if you go in with an injury, you better keep that to yourself. Win, lose, or draw.
right. What do you think about that Daniel Mosier and Brent Rockers match?
What a match.
I know, right? That first match was like really. Brent has a thick hand, thick wrist, strong hand, strong wrist. And the fact that match one, Daniel was able to kind of, turn him into a hook when Brett stonewalled him at the beginning. I thought that was very interesting. But I think he just wore him out at the end. I think Daniel's still coming off, I want to say wrist surgery or something like that.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, like Daniel Mosier looked, I always kind of underestimated him. Like I've always underestimated him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be the case with a lot of people.
Right.
But I think he's coming back strong, and we're going to stop doing that at some point.
Yeah.
And he could be the man in a couple years.
Yeah, he could. So that'll be interesting. Then you had the rematch of the Arnold Classic finals this year.
Yep, and it went the same way.
I thought and I got this one wrong because I thought, knowing what what Devin knew, I thought he would have came back with a different game plan, maybe tweak a few things, and I guess it didn't matter. So
nope, didn't matter. Didn't look like he was. It didn't look close. Put it that way, to me. Yeah.
The upset I want to happen didn't happen, but with Artem and Pablo, and I think that if you were there, like in person, everybody was cheering for Artem, wanting to at least get that one win in, right? And
Yep.
it seemed like it was starting to come around. I mean, Artem dove in like that and corked his body, and I'm thinking, okay, it's coming. But again, when Pablo's 42 and Artem's 208, there's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, Artem looked good. He looked big,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't look Pablo big.
No. There's that. My buddy Tim Talmadge and Robbie Russell, and I was hoping Tim would get one win because everyone kept saying Robbie's going to win 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And, Tim, who happened to be my roommate in Arkansas, we were kind of going over some stuff. And I said, hey, if you keep Robbie's wrist straight, you have an outside chance. And a lot of people kind of come in and they do this when they set out. Forces you to kind of come like that. I'm thinking, Tim, don't allow it to happen. Because if you go even Steven, and I told Tim what you could do is approach the table like this. Walk to the table and kind of sit there and do this. That way you're right in the center. Your shoulders protecting this. So you're not coming out like that. You're starting like this because some people come across their body like this and then plant and then won't move. And, hey, my wrist is straight. Well, yeah, it's straight, but you're not even like square. I thought if I told Tim, don't go power for power. What you need to do is kind of, stay outside and make sure if you can flatten his wrist, you have an outside chance. But in between matches, Tim told me Robbie pretty much put him where he wanted to put him, and that's pretty much how that went down. So, but Tim will shake it off. He'll be all right.
Yeah. What else we got? There's the main event, but were there any other matches that we forgot already?
Well, I mean, we talked about because there were two matches between John Terrian and Stephen Lodge, and Stephen won both. I thought Stephen would have won left and John would have won right, but we were both wrong on that one. So,
Mm-hmm.
The main event. We talked about Roman and Dustin Hyatt. I mean, what can I say? I mean, that kid, Dustin. Holy shit! You saw the match, Ryan. It was just amazing. The atmosphere really got fired up.
Yeah, man, and coming back too, like it was something.
Yeah. Two more matches before we get to the main event. Bob Brown,
Right.
by the way, at the Monster Factory, hasn't lost a match yet, by the way. So, and again, it was Bob didn't have to do a whole lot. to me, I thought it was more of a setup issue. With and I don't know if it's a Florida thing or what, but not all Florida guys do that because Carl Stanley just went right through Sonny Gay, and
Yes.
it was just dominating. So I'm anxious to see what happens for Carl Stanley next. Just it was a one-sided match. Again, Bob Brown one-sided match, but Bob looked good. Austin looked at and not intimidating, but more aggressive on the table. It didn't matter. Bob just kind of got smart and go, I'm gonna plant my elbow here. You do it. I'm gonna open King's move, and then we'll go from there. So, and then the main event.
Man, it kind of looked like Pavlo was a little bit unstoppable.
All night. It didn't matter.
He's not a super fast arm wrestler. He's just powerful.
And I don't think Ron was ever known for his speed in the first place.
Yeah.
So when you get to that point, and because Ron got a strong hand, Ron can actually clap down on you and just sit there, and you can do all that. He will just sit there like that, but you can't do that with Pablo.
Nope.
And Ron was trying, his hardest. But again, it's Pablo. What do you do? So.
I mean, hanging around that lighter weight class too. Not many guys are going to touch him down there.
So let me ask you a question. When he pulled Sabin at King of the Table, I think he had bulked up 12 pounds, whatever, something like that. And he pulled Sabin. He looked dominant there. And all of a sudden, I don't know if his hand blew up, if he wore out, but then Sabin, figured out the puzzle and busted him over. And then, that was the last we heard of Pablo as far as that match went. Then he went, what was the next week or the week after, come back down to 242 just so he can win the Arnold. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure what, it looked like he blew up.
Yeah.
In match number 1. And that was kind of the story of the match.
Right. So
Jay Clean is saying Pavlo said he blew up too quickly at 260.
Yeah. So is that one of those situations where bigger is not always better?
I would say so. Yeah. He needs to stay at 240, hang around that weight class, and I think he'll do really well.
Because
some of the top guys against him at 240 would be fun.
Because I'm thinking about going back down to 220 myself. Just, you find out a few things, and, I'm like, gee, I don't know. Hanging out 242, I mean, I just need to get back down to 220, 225, something like that.
Oof, Rush Raider says Pavlo versus Marcio needs to happen. That would be a very good match.
Yeah. That needs to happen. Maybe at the factory, maybe at King of the Table, whatever. That does need to happen.
Yeah. All right. Overall, what are your thoughts on the event? You close it out for Monster Factory 4 because you were there.
Great event. They're gonna the next one's gonna be in September, but it'll be a little bit different. It'll still be, on location, but it'll be a little bit different. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag about what's gonna happen next. But I think with the array of talent there, I mean, can you imagine? There's a picture that was taken, all of us, all the athletes were there with their friends or significant others or whatnot. And the array of talent in one room is just mind-boggling, Again, it's one of those events where you don't see that kind of talent unless you're overseas, right?
Yeah.
The fact that it happened here in the States just goes to show you that, you know what? And the event was free. So it's like, hey, why not? It was awesome. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Hopefully one of these days I can get invited back again because I think I still got some stuff to prove as far as that goes. Yes, got my win. I like it. Goes in the record books, but I didn't like the way how I won. So I'd love to get another crack at Daniel Worley if I could. And we'll see what happens. But overall, awesome event. If you watched it, you enjoyed it. We saw it firsthand. Kudos to, Brad Cook took a lot of pictures. Robert Kelly did some filming. Awesome, But again, just good hospitality from the Todds. What else can you ask for?
Yeah. Crunchy Crackers 73 asked, have you pulled Chafee before? right or left? Both. I've pulled him both hands. Dave Chafee might be the easiest super heavyweight arm wrestler in the elite to set up with.
Yeah, just set up, close your hand, and go. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need to do all this, around. I've never understood that.
Yeah.
That's just a strategy thing. Because what I don't get, Ryan, is when you travel across the world and all of a sudden you want to sit there and just not grip up. You want to sit there and play this game. I never understood that. Never understood that.
Well, that brings us into not King of the Table, sorry, East versus West 7.
Yes. The return of some guys like Tobias, the return of RVJ, just to name a few. So,
all right, well, let's throw some matches out there. You said RVJ. Let's talk about that match.
RVJ versus Zurab.
I think if RVJ is in shape, he's got a chance. But I still favor Zurab, even if he's in shape.
That's the thing, because you don't know where RVJ is, because the last time I might have missed something, but the last time I've seen RVJ in the match was he lost 6-0 to Sasha. Was that Arm Wars reality check?
Yep.
And it just seemed like that whole entire time he was not comfortable. I don't know if the plane ride was horrible, but he just didn't seem himself.
The travel was brutal. Like, we all had issues that time around, but also I'm not sure how much training RVJ did. Like, RVJ holds himself out as being a natural athlete, not enhanced in any way, and I believe him.
Right.
So if you take most of the pandemic off, you're not going to come back as quickly as some other people might.
Right.
So I don't know. Was he quite there? I don't know. Has he been training for this one? I hope so, because this is not a warm-up match. This is right back into the deep end.
This one, I think there was some footage of him and Jerry getting together on the table. I thought I saw some of that.
It's possible, but I don't put a tremendous amount of stock into that. Like, is he doing a full kind of training camp style thing to get ready, or is he just going to the odd practice?
You know what, though? For some reason, I got this gut in my stomach, this dynamic of the Three Musketeers. And when I say that, that is not a disrespectful thing. Have you noticed the vibe I get from these guys? RBJ has his podcast show, right? And he'll have Doug Erlach and Paul Lynn on there. And I see the vibe. I see this energy between the three, that what I feel is that these three are really taking this seriously. And when they get together, it's like going, okay, they're really like, okay, no fucking around. Let's get this shit done. We got people that are counting on us. I just feel that kind of vibe. And I could be wrong, but that's just the vibe I get from those three. Like, no more fucking around,
Well, the chat here seems to think that RVJ is getting after it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's your pick?
I'm going to say RBJ in the upset. Now, do I think if RBJ won, do I think it's an upset? Yes. Only because of inactivity, and Zurab's been on this stage before, knows what to do. RBJ hasn't been on a big stage in a while, so we'll see what happens. But I'm saying RBJ 3-2. But he'll lose match one, then, because RBJ does that. He'll recharge and it's on.
Man, as much as I want RVJ to win, I'm going to go the other way, 3-2.
So you said Zurab 3-2. I say RBJ 3-2. Now, I only have this notepad that the hotel offers you, so I don't have enough room to write your predictions down.
We'll remember.
Okay. And speaking of the three guys, let's go ahead and go into the next one. We got Doug Erlach and Daniel. God dang it. We just talked about this.
Prokopchik.
Prokopchik. Yeah, there you go. Is it me or is this like Doug a lot bigger than Daniel?
Yes, unless Daniel is bulking up and agreed to do that. And I seem to recall that happening recently as well. You go ahead on this one. You tell me what you think, because I already have my pick in my head because I've learned to not bet against this guy. But go on.
Would I be crazy if I said Doug 3-0?
No, you wouldn't, because that's who I'm going with as well.
I'm going Doug. I mean, it's just he's just big, you know? And I think when a lot of people had Doug losing to Coach Ray, I was one of them. And the only reason why I had him losing is because, I'm thinking he's been off for a while. But now he beat Coach Ray. Okay, I got this big chip on my shoulder. This big, giant Cool Ranch Dorito chip on my shoulder. Shocked the world. And now he's just motivated. And now it's like, okay, Doug is just a bigger athlete than Daniel. And heck, what if Doug beats him and then tells Ingen, hey, I want Menegas Terrasitis, who has a match, by the way, and I forgot about that one. Then what happens, I'm saying Doug 3-0.
Could be. When I agree with you.
And then Paul Lynn's match. Why did I not write that down? I didn't write that down.
You didn't?
No,
who's it with?
I help me in the chat. Chat, help me out.
Chat, who's Paul Lynn's opponent?
Why did I not write that down? What the hell? Oh, Sasha, duh.
Oh boy.
I did write that down. Sorry, it was just chicken scratch.
I don't know, man.
I think
that's a tough one. I knew that too. I remember that now.
You know why I'm picking Paul? I'm gonna say it right now, Ryan. I'm picking Paul 3-1. You want to know why?
Yeah.
That title he has, is it a world title or just East versus West title?
What's the difference as far as that league's concerned? I'm not sure.
Because I don't want to start offending people who do IFA and WAF world titles. I don't want to start pissing them off.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think, they're calling it a world championship.
Okay, so here's the thing. The reason why I'm picking Paul Lynn 3-1 is because when he beat Babayev for that, it was almost by default, right? Like, yeah, I won, but it's because my opponent got injured. He couldn't continue, so this is where we're at. And I know that bothered Paul because he wants to win the right way because he's a stand-up guy. I mean, after all, he's our Captain America, right? So he wants to win the right way. That's why I'm saying, okay, he's going to, like I said, Doug, RVJ, Paul Lynn, they got this dynamic going on where I think, you know what? They're going to, make some headway. This is why I'm picking Paul Lynn 3-1.
I will never bet against Paul Lynn, but he's got his work cut out for him, man. I'm going to say 3-2. At best case scenario, it's 3-2 for Paul.
There you go.
Sasha is probably the favorite going in.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Paul's going to, retain that and earn the fact that, hey, I did earn this title. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to show you why it belongs with me. So, because he needs that. Because you don't want to win a title and have an asterisk behind it. You know what I mean? And that's where it's at right now.
Yeah.
Nothing he can control, by the way. So, moving forward, I'm kind of stumped on this one. David Samusha and Brendan O'Cessor.
I'm not. I got to go with David on this one.
I was going to say, I know who I want to win, but who I want to win, who I think might win, might be two different answers.
Precisely.
And I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I got Samusha winning 3-1.
I'm probably going to say 3-0, to be honest with you. I like Brendan. I think he's got a chance. I just don't think he's, that stage, that travel, all that stuff, all the things, the experience on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
David 3-0.
And you know what? And like I said, I don't want people to start getting on my case. Oh, screw you, Jody. You didn't pick me, yada, 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 whatever. That's just, how I feel. And this is a bigger stage for Brandon, So we'll see what happens, But the match I'm most intrigued with, Ryan, and guess what? I want you to guess what match I'm really looking forward to.
Is it the Cody Merritt match?
Well, that's one, but no, not. I'm a big Cody Merritt fan, but no. Well, I'm a lefty too, so that's why. But no, has nothing to do with Devin either. I'll give you one more guess. The match I'm really looking forward to.
It's Vitaly and Tobias Sperong.
No, it is Bayev and Arakli. That is the match I am looking forward to.
Angrabayev and Arakli.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a tough one to pick, man. Is that a title? Is that a title match?
I believe so.
I'm going with Angrabayev.
Boy, you didn't waste no time on that one, did you?
No.
For a match that also tough one to pick, Angrabayev's going to win.
I just think he's. I am so impressed with that guy year after year. I think he's going to win that. I think his time for that title is now.
Yeah, but I'm picking him to win 3-1 over Arakli. What do you think?
Yeah.
And what are people saying? I can't see the chat because I'm on my mobile phone, but what are people saying in the chat?
Well, Jay Clean says DeVitt is borderline unbeatable. That was the last one we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down here. Angrabayev should be the favorite, Jay Clean says. Only thing Arakli has over Angrabayev in straight power is straight power, I think is what it means. I think Angrabayev, man, I think he's... Yeah, I think basically it's 50-50 is what we're going with. Dan Woodley literally just posted that. Crunchy Cracker says Angrabayev 3-0.
Yeah.
I would think that Arakli might get round one.
Yeah, but I think, just Unger is so smart, so technical. It's almost not even fair.
Yeah.
But look who he's beaten the last couple times out.
Mm-hmm.
When you can beat John Brzenk, when you can beat my boy Michael Todd the way that he did, no disrespect to Iraqi, but this is amateur hour.
Justin says, I want to see Angrabayev versus Devin at 115.
No.
I don't know if we'll see that, but it'd be interesting. I think Devin, we'll get on to that, but at some point, if Devin starts losing at super heavyweight again, we might see him back down in that class.
We'll see what happens at his match and then the dark card, and then we'll go from there. Last match of the light guys before we go to the big dudes. And we got Adam Warzinski and Baby Sag. So, because I don't want to butcher the name, is that Levon's cousin, little brother, or what?
I think there's some relation there, but I have my pick already.
I'm torn. What you got?
I'm going with Warzinski.
I've seen nothing of Baby. What's his first name anyway?
I don't know.
We'll call it Levon's little brother. We'll just say that.
Baby Levon. Yeah, cousin, Jay Clean thinks.
Because it's I see nothing of him. But the reason why I'm always kind of digging my heels is because if your last name is Saginashvili, I still messed it up.
Saginashvili?
If your last name is that, you know how to arm wrestle. That's just what it is, right? So, but I still think Adam's going to get that. 3-1 Adam, that's what I'm picking.
Yeah. Against the untested, unproven.
Right.
Little Saginashvili.
Yes. Okay. Now we go to the big dudes, the heavy hitters. And let me start off by saying, welcome back, Vitaly. Welcome back, Tobias. And
left-handed.
What's that?
Left-handed match.
Yes. Isn't Tobias coming off surgery or something like that, or injury?
Tobias is coming back off of his injury. This is his first major test, I think.
Right. Now Vitaly has pulled a tournament. He pulled a tournament, an open tournament, and won the open.
Right. Yeah.
But it wasn't a one-on-one. It was like a tournament.
Yeah.
However, last one-on-one we saw, he pulled Dave Chafee, who happens to be on this card, by the way. We'll get to his match in a second. But it was an awesome match. Probably one of the better matches of last year, you know. I just think Vitaly's too much for him, honestly. But Tobias, I mean, he has a long lead too, and he's pretty tall. But I just think that coming off injury or surgery in your first match with Vitaly, he's coming off an overall win. What if I said Vitaly 3-0?
What if you said that? I don't know.
You know,
Just for argument's sake, I'm going to go with Tobias.
there we go. So there's that. And speaking of Chafee, I don't want to say I'm saying Dave Chafee 3-0, but what makes me hesitant is that this ain't.
I don't think it's going to be 3-0. It's Rivas. He's good, and he is a gigantic human being. I think you're going to see something similar to what we've seen in the last couple of Chafee matches where he eventually tires out his hand and wrist and ends up finishing it off in a press, but 3 matches to 2.
Dave's going to get that. I want to say Dave 3-0, but at the same time, it's like the conditioning makes me go the other way. Like, okay, maybe it won't be 3-0, you know? But I might have to agree with you on that one and go 3-2. Wouldn't that be classic? He beats him in the press on the last match.
I think that's what's going to happen. You heard it here. You heard it here, folks. It's like the dark card that happened a week ago. 3-2 Chafee. Last match in a press.
And then we go on to the most respected man that we all love. You can't say a bad thing about Cody Merritt, can you? I mean,
Well, I could if I wanted to.
Well, yeah. But I mean, the guy is just too nice, and I'm glad he's back. His last couple outings weren't the best. Lost to Morozov, lost to Corey West, and it's like going, okay, don't just like phase off into the sunset.
Can back. Cody get through the match without getting injured?
That is what scares me.
Because he seems to just be getting injury after, and we're not talking little injuries. We're talking broken bones, torn muscles, ruptured tendons. So Cody's healthy now. Can he stay that way?
I hope so. I was there in person when he broke his bone against Robbie Topi, you know, and then the injury with did he get injured versus Morozov, or was it just like, I want to say he got injured after that one too?
Well, the last time we had a match booked, I think the last 2 times we had a match booked, they got canceled because Cody got injured.
And then he got injured versus Corey West. So it's like going, dang it, just stay healthy. Just stay healthy. Just stay healthy. Please, please, please. Because I want to see that match down the road with you and Cody one more time. But, you know, you got to be healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he's pulling.
Is it Alazan? Is that how you pronounce it?
Alazan Muratov.
All right. Muratov. Okay.
I might be butchering that, but.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I think Cody's got to be the favorite in this one, to be honest. I mean, this is finally a match where Cody's not facing like a killer.
Right.
Or the next big thing.
Yes.
And none of us are getting any younger. Cody's, you know, well into the Masters class, almost into the Grandmasters.
Yes.
Yes, he won the N-Will says he won the WAF Supers and was 105 kilos when he did it.
Okay. Well, I'm picking Cody 3-2.
I don't think I think if Cody wins this, it's got to be 3-0. I think if his opponent wins 2 matches, it's going with the other way.
Think so?
Yeah.
Well,
But I will say Cody 3-0.
we have 2 more matches to go. And the first one is Georgie versus Arif.
Arif Artem.
Yes.
Turkey's own. Yeah, I think these guys have pulled a bunch of times at WAF.
Right.
And I don't know what the record is. Georgie is still coming back, right? Georgie came out, had that one match with, well, he pulled at the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled Cataret and lost.
But it wasn't like okay. He lost. I mean, again, it's one of those matches where in the record books he lost, but he could have well won that match. And like I said, if I'm Georgie, I would have punched everybody that was in my corner in the jaw for not making the adjustment. We all knew. I mean, that match was his to win. He just didn't happen. Jerry took advantage of one.
Are we talking about the right Georgie? Jay Clean says we're talking about the wrong Georgie.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, how many Georgies do we got in this sport?
Quite a few, apparently.
Damn. Okay. Sorry.
That is always the one criticism I've had with East versus West is when you're looking for match lists, they're pretty hard to find.
The one I got now, I actually talked to you about. That probably came out 2 months ago, maybe.
Okay, I did find it. It's buried. Something. Oh no, Georgy Zaranov. Okay, yeah, you're right, guys. Geez, sorry. Georgy Zaranov. Other one is we saw him a couple of East versus West ago. So if I'm not mistaken, his match, he ended up coming back to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be one-sided with Arif Artem.
And wasn't he the one that pulled Corey West left-handed?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say RF 3-1.
3-0.
There you go. And here's the thing, because this original card came out months ago, and Ingen added a match. It was Mendigus Terrasitis, but I forgot who was pulling because no one really is talking about it now, and I can't find the poster.
Well, I have the poster that has the 11 matches on it in front of me now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a Mendogas match on here.
Yeah, it was a last minute ad that Ingen decided to put up there, and that's the downfall of that, because now, because Mendigus is fucking badass, and to have him not talked about because it was a last minute addition to the card.
Here it is. Mendogas Terrasitis versus Oleg Cherkasov. Probably butchering that. Apologies. But there it is.
I wonder, can you butcher a name like Ryan?
Or Steve.
Yeah. Or Williams. Will.I.am.
Yeah.
Will.I.ams.
Brown. Yeah. Bob Brown.
I'm just wondering, because I'm like, with all these syllables and these tongue twisters, man, but Mendes he's my man. I say 3-0.
Well, I'm gonna say Mendogas as well, but it's gonna be last minute match. Haven't looked at it.
Right. And now we get to the if you got your head underneath a rock, you would think this is the only match on the entire card. Right?
Well, it's definitely the one that's been seeing the most promotion, and that's mostly thanks to the guys in the match.
Well, I mean, I think anytime you have Devin involved, it's going to be like that, because didn't Devin and Prudnick overshadow that card too?
Well,
with their hype.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what the press conference is going to be like this week?
Well, there's actually like the whole narrative of will they actually fight, all that kind of stuff. They won't.
They're not people who's saying that because they're not going to fight because if they're
That was a
going,
headline. That was a headline, I think, on one of Bowen's shows.
oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
If they were going to fight, then Evan Burgoyne and Paul Maiden would have fought. They didn't fight. You know.
Yeah.
And what's Devin now? I heard he's like in the upper, just south of 300 now.
Well, you know what? I have many, many thoughts.
I know you do. I know you do. But no, really, it's like, what do you say? I'm assuming that now that Devin's bulking up, is he gonna like just not pull his weight class title then? He just hangs on to it.
I guess he has it for. I'm sure England's got a system of how long they keep it without defending it. Maybe there will be an interim champion at some point.
I mean, after all, didn't we have an interim champion with Gasparini and Jerry? Aren't they the interim champions too, right now? Or I guess Jerry's the champion.
Yeah.
And then Hermes is the interim champion, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to headline the next East vs. West. So we already know that's the main event. But what are your thoughts about this main event match before we go ahead and start predicting it?
Well, I have who I want to win and who I think will win. Now, I'm honestly probably cheering for Gennady.
Right.
Antics, all the stuff, personal issues aside, it's just I'm sick of seeing the same bullshit on an arm wrestling table time after time after time, which leads to a win, which impacts the outcome of that match so greatly because the referees of the event, they need to bring in 2 referees that don't do anything but referee that final match. So they're not completely exhausted from the 10 hours of refereeing they did previous to that.
Yeah.
And then stick them into the hardest match in the world to ref. With the hardest competitor in the world to get set up properly.
Oh, yeah. This is why I'm not going to predict anything. Sorry, everybody in the chat, but
well, I'll make a prediction.
Yeah,
I'll predict that Devin wins the way he always wins.
Well, it's hard to bet against them, but my thinking behind that is the fact that, and you pretty much took the words out of my mouth, so I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback on that. It's very hard to. It's a match everybody wants to see, right? So
you know why I'm tuning in? I'm tuning in the same reason that I would tune in to watch the Macho Man as champion versus Ricky Steamboat. I want to see the heel get beat.
Right, and it's almost like, you watch it. Yeah, I mean, Devin is the clear-cut villain. He'll tell you that, but he makes it very difficult to bet against him, But on top of that, a lot of it has to do with and here's the thing, because have you noticed though, when Devin pulled Prutnik, let's be real, he's being a total dick on the table toward the refs. I mean, yeah, he might have said a few things to Prutnik, but Prutnik's like, yeah, what the fuck ever. And I even thought match 1 was actually a win for Prutnik, but that's neither here nor there. But just the way he went about things with the refs, and the refs kind of catered to that. I didn't see that version when Devin pulled Sanders. He didn't do that.
He did at first.
Yeah, but it didn't extend all the way, to where the refs were scared to make a call against him.
Well, it took about 8 seconds for that referee to give him a warning. And Devin himself said that. That is the fastest a referee has ever given me a warning.
Yeah, which means they got to set the tone. Now, I'm not saying that the refs need to, it's not about the refs, but at the same time, the refs need to set the tone. If it's, hey, if we're in the freaking ref script and don't move, that's exactly what you do. Don't move. When you're allowing this and you don't foul anybody, you fucking lost everything. You lost all credibility for that match. And now it gets to a point where the refs just want to get the shit done and over with.
Hey, Mr. Rabbit, what a stupid comment. Canadian hating on their fellow brother Canadian. Let's face it, we ain't brothers, and there was a lot of stuff that went my way before I ever put it the other way.
Yeah. There's a long history that I don't think he understands, Ryan, between you and Devin. So, but that's for another day.
Including, a lot of enjoyment and laughter when I had my common tendon in my right elbow flexors torn right off the bone. So, basically, Southern Ontario, you'll never see me there.
Yeah. So
if I'm gonna come on here and make a prediction for a Canadian just because he's Canadian, you should never listen to a thing I say again.
There you go. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, this is why we do this show, Ryan, because you have to realize that, we have to be even Steven. I know it's hard, I mean, hell, the last East versus West, I didn't predict Doug Ehrlich to win. And I'm American just like he is. And I told everybody why. I told everybody why. It was because I thought because Doug's been off, the shows for a while. And, he would have had some table rest. And Coach Ray was been, running and gunning. So that's why I picked Coach Ray. I was wrong. Hey, I've been wrong before. But I don't pick, Americans because they're American, I pick them because, I tell people why. Yeah. So again, going back early in the show, Ryan, not to go backwards, but there's a reason, when I had RVJ, Paul Lynn, Doug Ehrlich, they got this camaraderie now. They got this podcast show that they run now, and I just see it in my stomach, my gut. I see that they're not messing around this time. This is why I'm picking them, not because they're American. So that's just my opinion. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is.
So are they going to get mad at me if I make a prediction come August when it's John Brzenk versus fucking Todd Hutchings? Are they going to jump on my shit then too?
It seems to be more focused towards Canadians, maybe because there's less of us that we're all expected to support each other.
So if you pick Evan Burgoyne in a match with whoever, then then what happens then?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The same thing, I guess. But the same passion doesn't seem to be there for supporting Evan as there is for Devin.
Well, I mean, the thing is, and I just sat there and said, and I'm not Canadian, but I'm North American, and you're North American, but I just said it's hard to, bet against Devin. But at the same time, it depends on how the referees. It's like football. It's like basketball. The first 5 minutes of the basketball game, the refs will let you know how the game is going to be called. Is it going to be tight? Is it going to be a little loose? You'll know, and then you'll make the adjustment. Same thing with this sport in arm wrestling. The referees will let you know. If it goes into a ref script and hey, you don't move, you start to do a little bit, they let it go, then you can get away with a lot more. You'll make the adjustment. That's the honest thing I can say,
Yeah. That's, what it comes down to for me, of course, is get the referees that will call the match properly and set the tone properly.
Mm-hmm.
And let's make sure that our corners are not interfering with the refereeing of the match.
Oh, so I know where you're going with that one. And just so you know, at the Monster Factory this past weekend, so Luke Polster, who was the head ref, master referee of WAF, by the way, told us straight up in the rules meeting, had all athletes gather around, we're talking about, he goes, hey, corner man, talk to your corner man. Do not obliviate him. Do not yell at him. None of that stuff. He's not going to go for it. He's not going to. So that's setting the tone. So we knew as corner man, because I was corner man for a couple matches, we knew right then and there that, hey, all right, what the ref says go, we follow the refs, everything was fine. But you got to establish what's going on,
Now, I don't mind if someone's yelling at anyone on the stage, but not from the stage.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, we should probably jump off.
We've been on here for almost an hour. Everybody, thank you for joining us. As always, hope you guys like and subscribe to this channel. That's always good.
Oh, before we go, Jody,
Yes,
Dan
sir.
Woodley has asked this question twice, and he
Oh,
says, we're getting lots of comments all of a sudden, but he said it twice. The one that he heard Devin accepted a left-handed match with Jordan Sonev. Now, Jordan Sonev.
was that the guy
First
that
I've heard of it, it might be the dark card match.
beat Matt Mask in Canada?
That's the guy that beat Matt Mask.
Yeah.
And then they pulled a lot after, so it's weird to me. Like if
Hey, do you know who Phil Woody is?
Yeah.
I saw him over the weekend at the Monster Factory. You know what he asked me? I thought it was kind of funny. He said he pulled me aside. We're kind of talking shop, and he said, "Hey Jody," I'm like, "Yeah." We're like eating, lunch at a restaurant. He goes, "Is Ryan Espey part of the dark card?"
Well, there's lots of a few people that have tried to put a match together for the last little bit, but
I said, to my knowledge, I do not think so. But if I did know, I would probably say I cannot deny or confirm.
Yeah.
So.
Don't worry, gang. We'll get into King of the Table in another show.
Is that date set for that yet?
Yes, it's on the. I don't know yet, but it's coming up.
Yeah, we don't have a card for that, do we?
We do have a card. Apparently, it's Chafee versus Devin, and
oh yeah,
Morozov versus Corey West, and Stax is asking me who I have winning.
We'll get later. Because a lot depends on what happens with Devin against Gennady. A lot depends on what happened. And even though Devin's pulling the battleground left hand, so much can happen between now and then. So,
yeah. All right, everybody. So long. See you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Ryan. I will talk to you later in the week, and we will talk about the results of this. Everybody, enjoy your Monday. Talk to you guys soon.